Hello, welcome to another video. Let's get this out of my mouth. Hold on, my bad. Today, I'll be reacting to the German Revolution. It's made by Things I Care About. He's inspired by Oversimplified. Gotta love him. Love Oversimplified. And yeah, let's get into it. Click on this video.
When my son and I moved in here.
You've heard of the French Revolution. You've heard about the Russian Revolution. But have you heard about the German Revolution? Filled with intrigue, treachery, and coup after coup after coup, where dreams of a socialist utopia turned into a fascist dystopia. Welcome to the craziest revolution of them all.
Man, I'm sure.
In 1914, a certain Austro-Hungarian Archduke wanted to see if it was possible for him to go for a drive around Sarajevo and not get assassinated. It was not, and the world was flung into World War I. In Germany, political parties overwhelmingly supported the war. Even the Socialist Party, who were supposed to be anti-war, supported it because they viewed the Russian Empire as the biggest anti-socialist power in Europe. The war was supposed to be over by Christmas, but it dragged on, and by 1916 there was still no end in sight. In the front lines, hundreds of thousands of Germans had already fallen, while back home, the economy crumbled. There had been no preparation.
It's not just the economy. You need food. Germany was starving. If you don't have food, it turns into fear. Turns into unrest.
Done for a long-time war. Skilled workers and farmers had been sent to the front, and all matters, political, military and economic, fell upon the army generals Paul von Hindenburg and Erich Ludendorff, who were determined to achieve victory at any cost and subjugated civilian life to the needs of the war efforts. What this meant for workers was 12-hour workdays at minimal wages and insufficient food. It cannot be overstated how much of an impact the war had in the German population. Just in 1916, 250,000 Germans died due to starvation or disease related to lack.
Like I said, starvation, and this is crazy. 250,000? Let's look at the German population. It says it was 97.7 million. Which you might think that's crazy. How the heck does it have that much? But this is the Kingdom of Prussia, and they have Tanzania and Namibia and some overseas colonies. So makes a bit more sense. They also have a pretty populated colony in China. So
Of food. In these dire conditions, a group of socialists led by a woman called Rosa Luxemburg openly defied the continuation of the war and founded the Spartacus League. As the war continued, more and more people joined the Spartakists. Why should we support the war? It is clearly an imperialist war driven entirely by capitalist control of the world market for the political domination of huge territories and to give scope to industrial and banking capital. My brother in Christ, I just asked for the time. And to be fair, they were right about the economic interest that caused the war, and people across Germany were beginning to see it. The movement continued to grow and spread across factories in Germany, with workers going on continuous strikes, until in June 1916, the emperor had two of the most important anti-war socialist leaders, Karl Liebknecht and Rosa Luxemburg, sentenced to prison. However, it was too little, too late. Hungry, tired and angry workers were beginning to identify more and more with socialist ideals and started to demand change. The emperor tried to appease the population by promising.
and you have, while this is going on, you have Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks. Peace, land, bread, I think was the slogan. I don't know which order, I just know peace, land, bread. They want peace. They want to end the war. This horrible work hours. They want food. They're starving. And they want land to harvest.
Democratic elections in Prussia after the war ended. The Socialist Party became divided. Some wanted to continue the war and find reforms afterwards through elections. Others wanted an immediate end to the war, to the monarchy, and even demanded the proclamation of a socialist republic. The SPD split. The first group turned into the majority SPD and the second to the independent SPD, who joined forces with the Spartakists. The war took a turn for the better on March 3, 1918, when Russia officially surrendered, and a wave of patriotism swept through Germany as the Supreme Command could now move part of the Eastern armies to the Western Front. Many Germans truly believed that victory in the West was now at hand. Here you must keep in mind that news were highly manipulated. Newspapers reported only of victories, and defeats, if reported at all, were described as tactical maneuvers, so the average German had a distorted sense of the state of the war. But reality was catching up. In September, the Balkan Front collapsed, and the Kingdom of Bulgaria, ally of Germany, capitulated. Austria-Hungary collapsed a few days later. Germany too was on the brink of defeat. During the Allied 100-day offensive between August and November 1918, they suffered defeat after defeat after defeat.
Here's the thing. Germany wins World War I if Austria-Hungary does not collapse. They 100% win World War I. They don't have to worry about the Eastern Front if Austria-Hungary isn't the way it is. And they would have took Paris. I guarantee you that. And even if Austria-Hungary collapses, another thing that makes them win the war is Belgium. If Belgium just lets them pass on through, there is no doubt they win the war. Germany wins the war.
Fearing the inevitable, Generals Ludendorff and Hindenburg sent a representative to negotiate an armistice. American President Woodrow Wilson demanded as a precondition for surrender negotiations the retreat of Germany from all occupied territories, the cessation of submarine activities, and implicitly the Emperor's abdication. With this demand, he intended to render the process of democratization irreversible. On September 29th, the Supreme Army Command informed the Emperor Wilhelm II that the military situation was hopeless. Give it to me straight, Ludendorff. How bad is it? I'm not gonna lie, it is very, very bad. I don't think we can hold the front for another 24 hours. We should request an immediate ceasefire.
A little snail there.
Fire. No way! The American president said he would only grant one if I abdicate. And you should. What? Whose side are you on? Mein Kaiser, if you abdicate, we can blame the defeat on the socialists for protesting. Then, once the armies are back in Germany, we will use them to retake power. This was the birth of the stab in the back legend. The false belief that revolutionaries had undermined, sabotaged and attacked the undefeated German army from their rear, turning an almost certain victory into defeat. However, 8 out of the 10 socialist leaders just happened to be Jewish, and quickly the conspiracy theory went from targeting socialists to including Jews as responsible for the German defeat. With 2.7 million dead, there were few families untouched in Germany, and people were bitter. In October 1918, over 1 million workers striked throughout Germany. Tired of the old regime, they formed councils or Räte after the Russian Soviets, seeking to establish their own socialist republic. But
and that's another thing they're taking from the Russian socialists, the Bolsheviks, the Mensheviks.
Leader of the MSPD, Friedrich Ebert, looking to weaken the influence of the Soviets, negotiated an early termination of the strike. The emperor abdicated, and Ebert considered the continuation of the revolution to be unnecessary. On October 24th, General Ludendorff changed his mind and declared the conditions of the Allies to be unacceptable. He now demanded the resumption of the war that he had declared lost only 1 month earlier. However, he did not have the support he expected and fled to Sweden with false papers. But while most Germans prepared for peace, the Imperial Naval Command in Kiel planned to dispatch the Imperial fleet for a last battle against the Royal Navy. The British think we are about to surrender, so
this is the turning point. This is where the German Revolution begins.
This is the perfect time to attack. Any questions? Did the High Command authorize the attack? Not quite, but Admiral, the new government is engaged in peace negotiations. Wouldn't an attack undermine them? Okay, no more questions, just raise the anchor, we're moving.
Yep.
Well, that's just rude.
Well, that's just...
Lend me your energy!
It's unscapable.
What went wrong in our culture? Start here. The fear, the anger, The shout.
Sailors on board 3 ships refused to weigh anchors. Some committed outright mutiny and sabotage. They were arrested without resistance and imprisoned in Kiel. Still, they achieved their goal. The Naval Command had to drop its plans for a naval engagement. On November 1st, hundreds of sailors joined forces with the Socialists to demand an immediate release of their prisoners. Raising slogans of peace and bread, they also demanded
Again, the Bolsheviks.
the end of the war and the improvement of food provisions. More and more people joined the protesters as they moved toward the military prison. Sub-Lieutenant Steinhäuser ordered his patrol to fire warning shots and then to shoot directly into the demonstration. 7 people were killed and 29 severely injured. Some demonstrators returned fire and the mass protest turned into a general revolt. The governor of the naval station was compelled to negotiate the release of the prisoners. By the evening of November 4th, Kiel was firmly in the rebels' hand. Delegations of sailors dispersed to all the major cities in Germany. By November 7th, the revolution had seized all large coastal cities as well as Hanover, Brunswick, Frankfurt am Main and Munich. Workers and soldiers formed councils, and by the end of the month, all 22 German monarchs had been dethroned. But apart from the dynastic families, the councils deprived only the military command of their power and privilege. They did not interfere with the duties of police, municipal administrations and courts. There were hardly any confiscation of property or occupation of factories, because such measures were expected from the new government. Hoping to gain over the middle-class parties and old elites of the German Empire, and fearing a radicalization of the revolution.
Okay, I think it's gonna be it for today. He hasn't posted part 2 yet, but I'll be watching part 2. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.